Hey there, friends. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotion for all the saints. Hope you're doing well today. We're going to be talking about Newsies again. If you don't know the basic story, look at last week's devotional or get your tickets and come see it at the Academy this weekend. But we're going to be looking for glimpses of God's story on stage. And I am going to share a quick reading from 1 Samuel 17 in the Message translation, part of the story of David and Goliath. So this is after David has convinced King Saul that he is the man to go and fight with this Philistine giant, Goliath, who has been hurling threats and insults against Israel. Then Saul outfitted David as a soldier in his armor. He put his bronze helmet on his head and belted his sword on him over the armor. David tried to walk, but he could hardly budge. David told Saul, "I can't even move with all this stuff on me. I'm not used to this." And he took it all off. Then David took his shepherd's staff, selected 5 smooth stones from the brook, and put them in the pocket of his shepherd's pack, and with his sling in his hand approached Goliath. As the Philistine paced back and forth, his shield-bearer in front of him, he noticed David. He took one look down on him and sneered, a mere youngster, apple-cheeked and peach-fuzzed. The Philistine ridiculed David. "Am I a dog that you come after me with a stick?" And he cursed him by his gods. "Come on," said the Philistine. "I'll make roadkill out of you for the buzzards. I'll turn you into a tasty morsel for the field mice." David answered, "You come at me with sword and spear and battle axe. I come at you in the name of God of the angel armies, the God of Israel's troops, whom you curse and mock. This very day God is handing you over to me." Well, saints, I'm sure we know how that story ends. We know that David defeats the giant Goliath using his sling and his stone, that he is able to overcome these impossible odds. Everyone else in Israel was afraid of Goliath. No one else would stand up to him. But David, relying on the strength of God, trusting in God's provision and protection, went into battle one-on-one with this giant, and he won. He overcame the impossible odds. This is a story that is so familiar to us, and even to people who are not Christian, who know the terminology of David and Goliath as a shorthand for something that we think is impossible, a situation that seems insurmountable, an underdog going up against a force that is too much for them. In fact, in Newsies, that is explicitly referenced a couple of times. One of the characters, Catherine, a reporter, talks about the struggle of Jack and his paperboys versus the paper owners, Pulitzer and Hearst, the media moguls, as a David and Goliath struggle. When the paperboys realize that they are being taken advantage of and they need to fight back, they nevertheless argue amongst themselves quite a bit about whether we can do anything. I mean, how do we fight back against these kinds of forces? What can we do? Ultimately, what they are able to do is a function of their willingness to stand together against these impossible odds. There is a line, one of my absolute favorite lines in the whole show, in the song "Seize the Day," where a character named Davy, by the way, is trying to encourage and to reaffirm and strengthen the resolve of his friends. He says, "Courage cannot erase our fear. Courage is when we face our fear." I see that as what happened in the David and Goliath story, where David, has every reason to be afraid of this giant who physically overpowers him, who is, well-trained and well-equipped and ready for battle in a way that David himself is not. But David knows, despite all these reasons to be afraid, that God stands with him, and he can stand up to this dangerous foe. The newsboys in the show know that they stand with each other. When they stand together, they can stand against their foe. I wonder what situations in your own life you may feel are insurmountable, like it's just too much for you. It feels like a David and Goliath story where you don't know how you're supposed to overcome this opponent, this enemy, this challenge that is so much greater. I wonder if you remember who is standing with you. Perhaps courage won't make it any less scary, but courage will allow you to face that fear, that giant, that situation, and know that God is still on your side. Saints, that's your devotion for this week. I hope it is helpful and worth thinking about. I hope you are doing well, staying healthy. I'll be praying for you, and hope you'll keep praying for me. Y'all take care, and I'll see you again soon.